What's good, y'all? What's good? It's your boy Jay Sway, aka Jay the Businessman, aka Mr. Wear 10 Hats. Anyways, the title topic today is how to build your own song catalog. How to build your own song catalog with BMI, Sesac, or Ascap. Now, of course, you're gonna have many questions uh, may come to mind. Like for instance, uh, when you're starting a publishing company, first of all, you got to make sure that your name's copied as a publisher. When you go to like BMI, CSAC, or ASCAP, the fee for an individual, as far as the publisher is concerned, that would be $150. Now, for a partnership, it's $250. So, what you want to do is basically determine how you're going to work that out as an individual or as a partnership. Now, what's the difference between a songwriter, and a publisher? Uh, now, obviously, the difference between a songwriter and a publisher, honestly, they can be one and the same. A songwriter and a publisher. For instance, you may be a songwriter, and you can also be the publisher as well. So can the songwriter and the publisher be the same? Yes, correct. You can actually most what I would recommend for most songwriters, especially if you're just starting out, as you're building your catalog, become more familiar with actually being a publisher. So therefore, you can actually pitch your works. You know, if you join, of course, join the Writing Society, whatever, you become part of a songwriting society, like for instance in Nashville and other states. To where you can have that group network of affiliates. So where that networking can go on. Now, what I would do, that what I personally did, um, as far as that was concerned, when we take all of our trips to Nashville, Tennessee, and like I said, we go to all the workshops through through our writing society. Like BMI would always have workshops, so they always it was good as far as like for a starting artist, someone just starting out, even for a seasoned artist to be within that network. It's very important. Therefore, you can network back and forth with individuals. You never know. You can pitch a particular song uh, to someone that's there. Let's say from another publishing company. You can actually pitch your own work to that particular publishing company. Let's say that publishing company's name was Songbird or something like that. Let's say for instance, say Songbird Publishing. What you would do as an artist, let's say for instance you had a certain, you wrote a song, you produced it or whatnot, and you had a particular artist in mind as you were writing it. Let's say for instance, it's like Chris Brown or Justin Bieber or Usher, someone of that nature. Someone that kind of fits that style. And then as a male or female artist, as a male or female songwriter, you know, person, when I write songs, my songs can either be sung or pitched to women or men. So it really doesn't matter as far as that's concerned. What you want to do is um, when you have your company set up, you want to make sure that when you form your company, you want to make sure that your songs are cataloged. It's very important to have your songs cataloged. Now, on that particular on that particular screen, when you go on BMI or CSAC and all of that, it'll ask you from the very beginning: are you the songwriter? Are you joined as a songwriter? Are you joined as a publisher? And so forth and so on. When I first joined BMI, I joined BMI as a songwriter, and then a little later on, as I began to make more songs, started to calculate. I would go up. I think I'm at a couple of hundred songs now that are cataloged through BMI. But when I first started out, I was starting out just to see if just to get a feel of it. That's back when we were doing artist showcases. And I would bring different artists in. I would I would bring different artists together, to perform and do these showcases. And from those particular showcases, that's actually how I built my label. The label at the time was Ninth Dimension Records. So my label went from Ninth Dimension Records to City Boy Music Group. But at that time I was, working with a lot of guys, male and female. KD the Stallion, uh, female rapper, songwriter. We did a lot of collaborations. Also did a lot of ghostwriting for that particular individual. And then the Hoodlum Twins. Then we had artist by the name of Killer Eye. He was an outstanding artist. Killer Isaac, Katie the Stallion, Hoodlum Twins. Uh, then we had Landis, who was one of our producers. DJ Slew was one of our producers. And of course, myself. And then we had an artist named Josie. She was from California, and she was more of the R&B, more along that Alicia Keys style. And we had a artist. She was a teenager, amazing artist though. Her name was Lady V, and she was actually from Chicago. So what you want to do is, like I was telling you, as far as that catalog is concerned, when you go to BMI, CSAC, or ASCAP, you want to make sure um, you establish everything and make sure everything's done correctly. When you're filling out your form, it's actually online. It's not like a paper or anything. You fill it out online, so you can fill it out as a songwriter, and then later on, uh, when you want to be a publisher, you can build it. Take the cost $150. You just build it online, swipe the credit card or put your credit card number in, and do it like so. Like I said, if it's a partnership, it'll be as $250. So yeah, um, as far as like when you're pitching to other publishers though, um, a lot of the times you're a songwriter. Let's say, for instance, you were just a songwriter and you wanted another publishing company to actually pitch your songs to labels. That's a way to do it. And then also you can go through known producers as far as music producers that can actually pitch it. And then, of course, you being a business or whatnot, um, I would recommend like an entertainment lawyer. An entertainment lawyer would be someone that is there within the business, within the industry, within the work, that understands the workings or whatnot, what goes on within that particular field. So that would also be a good thing as well to do. Honestly, I recommend that also. Um, One of the first things that I had done with Nice to Meet You Records, like for instance, with some of our first songs that really hit and got a lot of recognition, a lot of radio play, and then we began to venture out from a local level, and then we began to venture out, do more shows and things like that. We went through five city tour just to test the market, you know, uh, basically off of the label's budget as an independent label, and it was all strategically planned. The whole key is to keep those wheels turning. The wheels keep those wheels turning. Like for instance, when you're a songwriter, after you go into that particular studio and you record, and you feel like it's up quality. You test the market. You have a listening party. Even before like album release party. Have a listening sessions and whatnot. Have individuals to critique your music. Good or bad. To see if it's basically a form of a test market to see if it's ready for like mainstream. You know what I mean? So after that point, we would go to like college radio. We would basically, like I was telling you on the last video, you would pitch to like college radio, mainstream. But basically college radio will play your music a lot more than some of these other radio stations. And at the same time, I mean, some people may not even tell you, you know, uh, radio airplay cost. It's basically it's part of uh, It's part of the packaging. It's part of the quote unquote marketing and promotions packaging. So you basically have to have those wheels turning. You have to strategically plan everything from A to Z. You know, like I said, one of the best things that we have done as a label, when you're doing a show as an individual artist, you may not be able to uh, draw that crowd in as an independent label if you haven't done a lot of mixed CDs, if you haven't pushed a lot of music, what I'm saying, and really grew that fan base as far as like Facebook or Twitter's concerned, any of the social media networks or Reverb Nation or SoundCloud, you know. So what you would want to do uh, is to network and make stronger relationships with other artists, maybe particular in that particular same city or surrounding cities, so you guys can come together, you know, book the venue, you know, bars, clubs, same thing, uh, and set a particular date. Then you guys would, of course, have the flyers done. You know, we would design our own flyers. I mean, we basically had everything down to designing our own flyers. We did our packaging. You know, we made sure the barcoding. We got everything right, barcoding, lined everything up with Nielsen Sound Scan. I mean, you name it. Built the websites, T-shirts. I mean, we basically built a brand at from 2001, starting young, you know. So it was like a learning process. It was a learning process as we went. You know what I mean? So like as I was learning and learning and wearing different hats like how to copyright, patent, trademark, how to design, how to graphic design, web design. Keep in mind, I never went to school for none of this stuff. You know, I'm basically self-taught. So as I learned all this information, I got to, studying, how to actually film the videos. So you'll wear like 10 hats. And once you actually have that knowledge, you can pass that knowledge on, to other individuals within your circle, you know, and give them the knowledge. But basically to build your team, when I first started out, I was, coming out of the house. That's how we had done it. And then our first business, we had 1,000 square feet. We were in the incubator in the city. Basically, it was like 15, 20 businesses, big old high rise, 15, 20 businesses all in one. They basically taught you uh, uh, how to balance books, financing, and all of that stuff. You know, the business side of it. But also within that particular our particular office space, there were other businesses. There were radio stations there. 1400 The Pump was there. So that was great for us. I mean, because we had already built that relationship with the DJs, there at 1400. And then, we would utilize the studio, of course, Scott Brown, Ashbrook Studios. And this particular studio was phenomenal, phenomenal. We had studio access to studio A, B, and C. The studio was up in his home, man. This guy, had like a $200,000 home. You know what I mean? He went from being a VP for a major corporation to deciding, hey, I think I need to do this full time. Making a long story short, he ended up moving to Nashville and actually becoming an engineer in Nashville. So that was great. But yeah, that's what you guys would want to do as far as publishing is concerned. Um, the more and more you begin to songwrite, like I said, copyright your music and whatnot. I'll make sure to share the links down here at the bottom as far as like USPTO, copyrightoffice.com, the actual forms that you guys would need as far as the long form and short form, uh, PR format, and sound recorder SR format, so you guys can actually have your music copywritten. And then like I said, the second step after doing all of that would be the step to the writing societies, BMI, Sesac, Ascap. When you do that, you have all your music cataloged. When your music is cataloged, it'll be cataloged under certain numbers. So, for instance, when you type in your name, you go into your BMI account or whatnot. That would be www.bmi.com. You set it up as a songwriter to begin with. Set up as a just to save some time. Set up as a songwriter, and then later on you can set it up as an actual publisher if you want to pitch your own work. So, like I said, you set it up. You type in the title of your song, uh, when it was created, your name. Of course, you'll type in your name or whatnot, as far as like your artist name, your real name, and from that particular point, uh, it'll it'll ask you a few questions. You just go through simple basic information. Bam, that song's uploaded. And however many songs you have, let's say for instance you're doing a complete album or a few albums or whatnot. You can say you got 30 songs. Make sure you go to the next page, put that second song in, other page, put that song in, and that's how you would do it. But basically, you'll have an entire catalog in no time, especially if you're actually doing shows, if you're actually doing concerts, and interacting. Uh, but yeah, that's what I would recommend for you guys. Like I said, you got any questions about how to set everything up, how to become established with it, man, just hit me up, man. Hit my email up, jamalshabazz16@gmail.com. That's JamalShabazz16@gmail.com. It's your boy, Jay the Businessman, Jay Sway, Mr. Wear 10 hats. You know what I'm saying? Y'all be good. Don't forget to comment and like, subscribe.